This furry video is really choking me up, man, for some reason. For some reason, I'm having a hard time recording this, getting my thoughts together. Boom! Today, we're talking about furries. Yep, furries. Those little creatures in the fursuits. But it's a good video, though. How can furries teach us to live a better, more fruitful, and meaningful life? Alright, so briefly, I wanted to discuss, before I go into the philosophy, what is a furry, right? And some, context behind the furry community. So, Wikipedia defines furry as a subculture of people who are interested in anthropomorphic characters. So that's the textbook definition. And furries have existed since 1976, and this was when the first explicit anthropomorphic film was made, that being Omaha the Cat. All right, and generally furries participate in various activities, which most often include going to conventions, writing fanfic, and creating other material, some more sensitive than others. Generally, furries have a particular online presence. I'm sure if you've been on the internet for any amount of time, you've, seen some goofy little creatures in some fursuits, or you've seen people joking about killing them and whatnot, and bullying them. But generally, furries in the modern age are a group of people who have a large online presence as well as a predominant presence in conventions and other in-person events such as that. All right, and before I talk about the exact philosophy, I also want to talk about why I think it's, pretty stupid to hate furries. Now, myself, I'm not a furry, but I've come to respect the culture and, respect the people who are attending these events for the most part. I think that people often go on this hate wagon, which is not totally understandable. I can totally understand how you bully people and because they're different and whatnot. And I used to be like that. I used to really hate furries. I thought they were degenerates, and I'm sure some of them are, but I used to be on that, let's get hunting tags for furries. If they want to be animals, they get to die like animals. But I think over, a course of time, I've, really matured, and I've learned to respect it, and I'll get to that reason next. So, the philosophy of how furries teach us to live a better life. And now this philosophy can probably be applied to other hobbies and things like that, but I feel like it's the most evident in something as taboo and strange as being a furry. But essentially, the crux of what I want to say is that furries are just people who live their lives. Most of them are just decent people who are engaged in a certain hobby that completely detracts them or somewhat detracts them from reality for a certain period of time. And really, we all kind of do that with our various hobbies, right? I think we don't realize that, there are so many different avenues of escaping a monotonous existence like this one, right? For me, I do a lot of different things. I work out, and obviously that's a little bit more tangible than being a furry in the sense that it's you get gains from it. But regardless, but I also, engage in firearm collection and gunsmithing, and I spend thousands of dollars on guns, right? And I really enjoy that hobby, and that hobby takes away from a potentially very boring existence, right? If you're going to a 9-to-5, right, and you're getting paid shit, your boss, is just screwing you over, you're getting fucked at work, you hate it, right? What do you come home and do? You come home and distract yourself from the monotonous, drab existence that you find yourself living every day. Video games are another great example. When you play video games, you're in a different world. You're engaging in a fantasy, right? You're detracting yourself from reality for a pocket of time. And then you have to go back to it, right? And that's essentially what furries can teach us, is that we all detract ourselves from reality and use it to escape in different means. And I think when you consider being a furry and you consider, changing to a fantastical creature, and living a completely different life for a period of time, I think that's totally appealing. Now, personally, it's not for me, you know, because I don't like find anthropomorphic characters that interesting, but I totally understand how living a completely different life, pretending that you're something greater, you know, something in a magical variety, that, you know, that's kind of incredible, right? And yet, you know, we bully these people and say they're, you know, they're gay or whatnot or what have you. And I think what they're doing is just a more extreme version of the typical person's detraction from reality. And that's really admirable. The only thing I'll say about being a furry and just this philosophy in general is that you need to know, one, you need to know when it's time to come back. You can't lose yourself in this illusion. You can't lose yourself in this dream, right? And two, with furries specifically, there's certain subgroups of that culture which are, you know, absolutely heinous, which would be the zoophile variety. But I think that's a very small minority of them, right? And essentially, I just want to finish off by saying that, like, almost everybody, you know, there's a few exceptions, but most people live drab existences. Life is boring, right? And, like, when you go home and you go golfing or you go shooting, you know, or you play video games, you're detracting yourself from reality. And I think furries do the same thing and to a greater degree. And a life like that is understandably lived. So, you know, the next time you see a furry, don't give him or her shit, you know? Just let them be them, you know? That's what I'm saying. As long as they're not bothering you, don't bother them. They are probably, you know, honestly, happier than you. If you think about it, they're out there doing their thing. They're fucking living their life in their tight-knit community. What are you doing? You going home, you know, jacking off to regular porn, being a bum? Dude, that don't make too much sense to me, bro. I'd rather be fucking happy and weird than fucking sad and normal, dude. Sorry, I got a little passionate there. That's about it, guys. Thank you for listening to my rant about furries.